The expectation levels were extraordinarily high for this, the 19th edition of the Strade Bianche. A lot of pressure on everyone's shoulders, plenty of former winners on display, but there was absolutely no doubt who was the linchpin. Tadej Pogačar, could he be beaten? And indeed, what strategy would he impose? We rolled out with Polti, Visit Malta at the front of the pack, and then stalemate. Would it be in the battle of attrition that we saw in the women's race? Kind of. And the pace was being imposed, of course, by none other than UE Team Emirates. We had ourselves a breakaway, an impressive one as well, but they weren't panicking behind. Tadej Pogačar's men working hard, but they were not in the break, not represented there, and plenty of other big teams were in pretty much the same situation. And so it was that 9 riders had pushed up the road and the gap was being held at around about 1 minute.
Tom Pidcock has decided to go himself and tell you what, whatever Tadej can do, I can do better.
Oh, how's about this? He was in the mood today, precocious in his interview, and Pidcock says, oh my goodness, what was that? I tell you, it was Tadej Pogačar coming up alongside. He's now got a bike length. Pidcock's got to struggle to stay with him. Everyone else has been detonated.
The last man standing from the breakaway was Swift from Ineos Grenadiers, and so it was the trio were up front, but Swift himself, would he be able to hold on? Every time we had Strade Bianche, then he managed to get back to the trio. They were sharing duties, sharing bottles, and indeed it seemed to be they would be sharing the podium until this.
There he is, 1, 2, back wheel straight out from underneath him, and he's lucky,
that's
very, very lucky to have got away with that.
And this allowed Pidcock off the leash. Away he went, Pogačar charging into the gap. Pidcock had shaken his head, quite frankly, and decided that with still over 45 kilometres to go, the best thing was to actually wait up for the man who was chasing him. So, if this was going to be our 1-2, who would finish on the podium? Swift was brave, he was digging in. Meanwhile, Pidcock decided to run for the horizon with, of course, Tadej Pogačar in tow. Could they possibly make it? Now, of course, out and out leaders by a minute from the chase group, which was Swift, and indeed a very select band of brothers who were trying to indeed close down Velon's Bilbao. Healy was also in the frame, but how much strength did they have left?
Stick or twist, oh my goodness, the thumb screws are twisting here, and it's Tadej Pogačar who's in control. Oh, look at this, Tom Pidcock is really being stressed out right now. This is a statement about what's to come. Don't forget the Flamme Rouge as well.
Tadej Pogačar was absolutely in a class of his own. Away he went, and the gap to Pidcock just started to swell. And with just under 13 kilometres to go, last of the Strade Bianche sections within his mind, and indeed was dealt with absolutely beautifully, with the crowds absolutely mobbing the road, wanting to see the gladiators. The one man had put paid to absolutely everybody out there. He'd faced the monster, and indeed faced it down, along with everybody else that was involved in this race. Bloodied but unbowed, the world champion rounded the last few technical curves and brought in a famous third victory, equaling the feat of Fabian Cancellara. And so a piece of Strade Bianche history had been written, and indeed one of the famous sections would, of course, be named after him. Such was his advantage. It was a magnificent performance, especially with all the adversity that he had faced through the day. Pogačar taking it ahead of Pidcock, Tim Wellens with the bronze medal essentially, Ben Healy leading home the rest.